Welcome everyone to my Virax Worlds Talk, and today with me we have some new guests. We have the one and only Ode and the UOL boys. So welcome, guys. Glad to have you here. How are you doing?
Not bad, not bad.
Just great.
That's good. So introduce yourself a little bit for the audience. Who you guys are? Where you from? How long you've been playing League? All that good stuff.
Playing League is good stuff? Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
you're right. Okay, all the other good stuff.
Yeah. So hi, my name is Ode. I'm 24. I'm from Israel. I've been playing and watching League since season 2. And I'm here to talk about roles because I'm excited and I'm following all the statistics and fun stuff like a true sports heretic. And hopefully I can shed some light on stuff.
And Dom?
I'm your boy. ADC for the past 5 years. I used to play jungle as well, but I frequently go to the LEC, and I was hoping to go Worlds, but that's went down the drain.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for most of us, I think. Me and Dom go back to watching the games together. That's how we met actually.
Yeah.
Like met in a what finals was it we first met at? Like
No, we met at Rotterdam, wasn't it? Because you were supposed to be the flag bearer there,
yeah,
and then in Athens,
yeah.
because we just like met up for 5 minutes at Rotterdam, but then in Athens we went out, didn't we?
Yeah. For those of you just tuning in, I'm Virax, and I'm your host for this podcast. We do it weekly, going over the changes in the world's finals. Rather championship. Sorry. And last episode, I was joined with Vagabond and Happy. We talked about the planes and what we expect to see in the group stage. And now we're just in the halfway point of the group stage. So we're gonna be talking a little bit about what we saw during the group stage. The first, well, it should be week, but it's not too big because it's like 4 days and then 1 day break and then another 4 days of games. So I'm still gonna call it week. So the first week of the group stage. So for those of you who are listening to it not live, just know that we are filming this live. My tongue is killing me. We're filming this live on my Twitch, which is twitch.tv/Virox5. So if you want to watch it live and talk to us, because I do have chat open and I read your comments, and if you have things to say, we will talk about it as well. So just know this is a possibility, and if you don't wanna, your choice. You do you, boo. But let's not waste any more time and jump straight into it. We had a banger of a first week, in my opinion. Like one of the most craziest, I think. With so many one-sided games. So how do you feel about the games? Some of the games being so dominant and like, yeah, just so dominant.
Well, I think that the meta currently is formed around that. Like you can snowball a lead very quickly, and especially if you pick like Senna, which is very common. It's you've got the late game guaranteed. So yeah, it is a case of a very snowball meta with champs like Lee Sin and stuff that are popular. But yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's also affected by the fact, two really important facts. The one is that this is the first time for some teams to play on a rolled stage. I mean, if we're looking at players like Inspired and Finn from the LEC, Rogue's LEC, LEC's Rogue, this is the first time playing on a live stage. There's no audience, which lowers the pressure, but it's still very unique, a unique experience when you've played your entire successful career from your gaming house in Berlin, and then suddenly being on a stage is very stressful for some players. And I feel like the second thing is, well, as Dom said, the meta is very it's about funneling to one carry and letting that carry, well, do the part. It's about, even if the weak side loses, if the strong side
Sorry.
good enough.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Like, but these times, like, compared to other times we saw focus on a single carry, now the carry is usually coming from the jungle. We see the Graves, the Hecarim, the Evelyn, the Nidalee is really rising in popularity, and it's interesting to see because I remember like a couple of worlds ago, like it always, like before world started, they would mega buff Kog'Maw, so Kog'Maw is like 100% pick or banned, and like all the enchanter support, like the Soraka, the Nami, the Sona, all the ardent abusers would suddenly rise in popularity because Kog'Maw is suddenly busted and you have to play him. And if it's not Kog'Maw, then I don't know, it's all the other busted.
Twitch
Yeah,
got broken down.
yeah. So like it's suddenly shifting into a jungler focused meta, which is really interesting to see because we're seeing some comps and teams we were expecting to play well suddenly play less well or underperform rather, and other teams suddenly really smashing. Like I know UOL had a really rough start in the group stage. Dom, I'm sorry for you, mate, but in the playing stage they definitely smashed because they had a good read on the meta, and they still have a chance of advancing, but it is a low one because of the groups they're placed in. But yeah, the meta now is really different than other worlds, and I think it's fun to watch. Like looking at, well, I'm a Fnatic fan, so looking at the Fnatic games, like the one where they played against TSM, and we saw Selfmade just flash over a wall and one shot Doublelift. Like there's nothing Doublelift could have done about that. He was even in his Senna E ability, so like junglers now are really strong. That's what I'm trying to get at, and it's just fun to watch.
The jungle's always been strong. Jungle is literally the most broken role. So
I mean, it's also the
new.
hardest, I feel like, especially in solo queue. Getting flamed for your laners doing mistakes is kind of annoying.
And that's why you mute all. Like as an
Yeah.
AD carry compared to jungle, jungle's just so much more of a hard carry.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like Doublelift got the solo queue experience by being one shot by the enemy jungler because
Yeah.
playing against assassins as AD carry is like, okay, I'm not gonna play the game. Whatever,
Yeah.
I didn't want to anyway.
Yeah. He didn't have a fun time there. But actually one thing we did see happen is G2 losing to Team Liquid, which was a surprise to me. I mean, I did expect G2 to throw games and do mistakes because that's just the G2 experience, but I didn't expect them to do it against Team Liquid. And it started all the way in the level 1 invade where G2 fought for an invade they shouldn't have. They had a weaker level 1 in my opinion, and they got caught off guard, and instead of just cutting their losses and running, they full commit, they lose flashes on both jungler and support, they die, and it started snowballing from there. So big shout out for Team Liquid for doing that, but just the G2 experience, and also like the games they did win, I don't feel like Jankos had the best performances there. And Perks as well, like the first game where he played Ezreal, I felt like he missed a lot of skill shots, and the team fights that he did hit them, they won those team fights, and he had a 10k damage in one fight. That's absolutely crazy, right? But yeah, G2, I thought we'd see them come in stronger.
I feel like G2 losing to TL was a tactical loss. By allowing TL to progress in the groups, it means that if they face them in like semifinals, they've got a guaranteed win there. And that's what I think the long con of G2. They're trying to get rid of stunning, right? That's the plan. They're like, TL, right? We've given you this free win. Just beat Sunning now, and you progress. You know. It's a long con. G2 grabs literally 5 brain, you know?
I mean, it's like when you're a 0-10 AD carry with 1k shutdown gold on your head, and you have a 0-10 support in the enemy team, which is like a useless support. Like, I don't know. Like, it's not a carry, it's like a Sona. No, but like a tank, like a Tam Kench, okay? A Tam Kench, a 0-10 Tam Kench. So you give Tam Kench the shutdown, so you don't accidentally give it to someone else. As an added bonus, Tam Kench is worth gold again. It's like,
Yeah.
it's 10 head play.
But that's the thing. Did you not see Mickey on that time, Kench? Solo kill an AD carry. Again,
Oh, fair,
proving
fair.
AD carry can use
Duel of
control
Blades,
for
Tom
things.
Kench is brilliant. I'm just a big shout out to Mickey X. He's been underperforming the entire summer, and suddenly he came into group and like, okay, Brooks, you don't need to play. Let's leave you aside. I mean, I know you like Brooks' father died in week 1 of summer, so he's been underperforming in track league. I'm tending to assume it's because of that, but you know there are other factors that we may not know. So I really feel like Mickey X just came and like tapped Perks on the shoulder, and he's like, "You just stand inside and do damage. I'll do the rest." So yeah, Mickey X was a real bro out there. But yeah, I feel like the G2 loss was, you know, putting the memes aside, was very much about the junk diff. As much as I love Yankos, I feel like Broxa has been much more effective on the map, because what he did essentially was take the camp, take the entire upper side of Yankos, and just not give this Nidalee any chance to advance at all, because this Nidalee both was under inform and behind inform, and this Nidalee needed to protect mid lane and top lane, which were winning on TL side, because G2 like less to play on the lanes and more on the team fight. This is also what won them the game against Sunning, but it also was their downfall in the game against Team Liquid.
See, with me, like, I feel like, again, that's just G2 not playing correctly. Not the fact that Brox has played that well. I feel like Brox is overjudged by EU fans now. When he's moved to NA, they're like, oh well, it's TL problem, you know, with tactical and stuff. But I feel like Brox is just way underperforming and isn't the right style of jungler. Like, yeah, he needs to be more aggressive in a lot of his games. Like, obviously, you say don't give Brox a Lee Sin, but it's not a case of him doing well early game. It's a case of him getting those kicks in the late game. But that's not what Lee Sin's about. It's about getting that snowball early. But whenever I see him on Lee Sin, he just doesn't do that. So, like, he did. I think that was a G2 fault instead of a TL Brox a pro. If you understand me.
Yeah. And to be fair, Team Liquid are still only 1 and 2. Like, yeah, they did have good games in the play-ins where Broxa and Jensen played out of the minds, and they did just win versus G2, but they're still behind. They're still the underdogs. They're still under, like, they're not favorite for this group, so they still have a lot to prove. But I think it is some sort of a silver lining and hope for them that they can show up. And touching on the point you said, Ode, with the Mickey, I definitely agree with you. I think he played out of his mind. The game where he took the Bard was absolutely amazing. We like when you see Bard, it's like it's either he's amazing, crazy good smurfing, or he's trolling you completely. And Mickey was definitely the I'm carrying you guys type of Bard. So I'm looking forward for more like that from him. Cause like it's fun to see those Bard picks actually work. I like them. But let's move on a little bit to Group B, where we have Damwon absolutely smashing. Like, I think a lot of people have Damwon as one of their favorites for the entire thing, or like at least top 5, I guess. Like a lot of people see them as this big talent coming in from Korea, like the hope for Korea, and so far they absolutely deliver on that. Going 3-0 in the house so far with pretty commanding wins, in my opinion, at least.
Yeah, I feel like the least, like the slowest game they had was 35 minutes, and it was against Rogue. Their victory against JDG, I think it was. Yeah, their victory against JDG was just smashing. Winning under 24 minutes in the against the second seed from China is like it's smurfing. It's just flexing on China and telling them we're better than you. Not to mention, you know, Nagore is playing like 10 days after he had a hole in his lung. He just got out the hospital a week ago, and this is how he's playing. He's performing like a madman. I really can't see how can you stop this group. That they just, it's not like that they just play perfectly. They don't make mistakes. There's nothing to achieve from playing against them because they come at you, they snowball, they kill you, and they don't give you any room to come back into the game. So I think they're going to go 6-0, and we'll see about that. Maybe the smallest mistake I've seen was like some misplays from Beryl, but you know it was made up by his AD carry Ghost, who's playing really well. So yeah, I really see them advancing to quarter and you know the semis easily.
Yeah,
Dumb.
I think Damwon are one of the best teams, like especially coming out of Korea, right? In and of itself is like a challenge because you got to think SKT and all these other teams. You know, Chovy to match Chovy in a lane is like so good, and Showmaker's that. You know, he is in my mind, he's one of the best mid laners of worlds. He's top 3 anyway. Him, Chovy, and Knight are my top 3 mid laners of worlds. But then you got like the S plus tier, which is No Man's like you know I've got to put No Man's above. I can't not. Um, but yeah, like Damwon 6-0. I feel like JD and Rogue are the only teams. It's going to be a coin flip. It's whichever one comes out kicking in game one is going to win second place in Group C, with Talon just being Talon. Just maybe if they can upset JD or Rogue and like then flip the standings. But other than that, I don't see much happening there.
Yeah, I think PSAG, Talon they were the surprise of the planes. Yeah, they came in kicking. They got out of group without even the best of vibe. They just placed first, and you can give a lot of that to the fact that they played with subs. You know, it's about when you play with subs, it's like okay, they played with 3 subs in the first week of planes, and then 2 subs at the second week of planes. So I felt like they came with the mentality of okay, we don't play with our usual players. We've got nothing to lose. Let's just go ham, you know. And it worked for them. It worked for them because you know not the other teams didn't know what to prepare for. But here, when they play in the group stage, they don't play against you know the wildcard regions anymore. They're playing against the big boys, and the big boys know how to play against players in solo queue that they think that are good. While PSG's has been, you know, performing somewhat okay, but it's still, you know, you can't compare them to the giants that they stand against. So I can't really blame them. I do hope they can get at least one victory, but I don't see that happening.
Mm-hmm. And as you said, like it does come down between JD and Rogue to advance like as the second seed from that the second qualified team from that group, and Rogue are like I think JD are the favorites to advance, right? Rogue do have the way cut out for them. They have a lot to do in order to qualify. And if PSG somehow managed to steal a win from JD, it does make things easier. But still, Rogue really needs every win they can get now. And like realistically, do you think they have a chance of actually making it? Like, can they take games off of JD? And like, even if they do, they will have a tiebreaker. So, do you actually think they have a chance?
I feel like Rogue does. Like the just Inspired and Larson really sets the team out for me. And as I said, it's a case of who's going to come out kicking into that game one. And if PSG can steal the game from JD or Damwon and Rogue have a great chance. But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like Rogue has been performing really well considering everything. You know, they have 3 rookies in their group. It's kind of rough. It's their first time in Worlds for everyone beside Hansama, so they have a lot of pressure on them. I feel like everyone agrees, even the team itself, that Finn is the weak side and is playing against Zoom, which is like in the top 5 players in most of, you know, casters' top 20 players. Zoom is crazy and amazing, and I feel like if Rogue want to win this, they need to put some pressure on the top side of the map, because, you know, bot side will they'll do okay. Yeah, Hansama and Vendor are a really strong bot lane. Larson can just, you know, he's 1v9ing everyone. He's not, you know, he's not dying in ganks. He can run away, and he can, you know, put wards, deep wards. So I feel like if Inspired and Larson help Finn in the top lane, Rogue might have an you know, an actual shot at getting a game against JD Gaming. But I don't see any other way they can win beside that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Larson is a really strong player. I think he was like statistically the best player in the mid lane in Europe. So a lot of pressure on his shoulder, and like I do think he can maybe pull it off with Inspired, because Inspired also been playing well in my opinion. They definitely have a hard road ahead of them. JD is not an easy opponent, as you said, and you know what is an easy opponent? Well, at least so far, it's North America. I mean, all memes aside, they're playing bad right now. They get a single win, FlyQuest and Team Liquid, and FlyQuest get it against UOL, which are like kind of the underdogs, and Team Liquid
So
get
you
it
can't
off.
make your run like that.
I'll give you your shot in a moment, but like, do we think NA actually have a chance of making it out of Worlds, considering C9 is not here?
I see FlyQuest as the C9 of NA this year. That like PoE is literally, he used to be a UOL boy, so I've got to give it to him. He's a good player. And especially since it's Ignat and PoE on FlyQuest, they have Worlds experience with Misfits, and they nearly took down one of the best teams, you know, SKT. So, and that was off the back of Ignat, to be honest, and PoE. So I kind of think, I know that I've jumped to group here, but I think FlyQuest could very easily get out of the group with just one upset against DRX. Like then it goes to the tiebreaker, and I feel like FlyQuest would then win that tiebreaker. But yeah.
Yeah, I feel like NA's biggest mistake was draft during the first week. You know, the draft that they came with was poor and poorly executed. You know, it's like it's very well known that self-made is great on Evelyn. So why leave TSM? Why leave Evelyn open to Fnatic? And why play in the top lane when most of your top lanes aren't that strong? I feel like the draft has been NA's biggest opponent. But as Dom said, I do agree that if someone has an option to get out, it's FlyQuest, because they're really playing kind of consistent. They've been consistent throughout the year as well. They got second place both in spring and in summer. They've been, top 6, top 5 in the LCS, and PoE and Ignar really need to take the wheels and lead that team, because Ignar has been playing very well. His Rakan is just, it's beautiful to watch, honestly. And yeah, I feel like if they play off the experience of the players that know what they're doing, and not just, go with the draft that is cool to do right now, or, the NA thing to do, which is like, I don't know, play the draft that your fans think you should play, then maybe they have a chance at beating DRX and maybe even top. Knight is a great player, but so is PoE. PoE is like a very strong mid laner, which I am excited to see more in week 2.
Yeah, we did see PoE come a big time in the game so far, and I think part of the problem with NA is I don't know if you guys watched the Euphoria podcast today, but they talked about the fact that Team Liquid, not Team Liquid, rather NA, their biggest problem is not knowing their matchups. Like going into matchup not knowing who should win that is something that shouldn't happen. And in NA, no one knows the matchup, so nobody punishes you for taking a bad matchup or making mistakes like that. But you come in here and you definitely get smashed by teams if you don't understand the matchup you are in, if you don't know when you're supposed to push and when you're supposed to freeze and when you're supposed to just give up the farm and walk away. And they also talked about it in the Euphoria podcast that Team Liquid did show some adaptation coming into their game versus G2. They still have a long way to go, in my opinion, and it's not a 100% chance an NA team will make it this year, but they need to start practicing and like realizing what matchups are good for me, what can I abuse, and where do I play safe, because you can have all of your lanes winning. That's just not gonna ever happen because of counter picks. But you need to realize this is my strong point, this is where I play for. This is my weak point, this is where I give up CS just to make sure the team doesn't win. And Team Liquid, they did show some good things in their game versus G2, and like I felt like Caps was completely useless that game, and it wasn't entirely his fault. Like there wasn't much he could do, and bot lane was also like Mickey was flashless for the first because of the level 1 invade, so Team Liquid definitely pressured that well. I still want to see more improvement for them. I think Team Liquid has a small chance of winning against Sunning. I think losing to Machi Esports the first game they had was really huge, really bad for them rather, for their chances. They can still make it up in the second week, but they need to come in with a good game plan. They need to either trust Broxa to 1v9 like Lord Flab said in the chat, or like figure out how they want to win this and play for that. They have to make sure they done their homework completely, and in that case I do give them a chance. Also FlyQuest, as you said, they have a small chance in my opinion. They are playing well, and DRX did come into the tournament a bit underperforming, so maybe they can capitalize on that. But I gotta say, like, their hopes, I don't think they have a lot of hopes for this year. I'm not gonna even mention TSM because like they don't stand a chance. Like they come in first seed, feeling good, feeling great, and they get Genji, Fnatic, and LGD. Like, what the fuck, bro? This is not what I signed up for. Like, honestly, I feel bad for them because coming in as first seed, you say, I'm gonna have an easier group, and you get all of these big names like even LGD, who played not the best in the planes. They come up big time with the best of 5 series, and then in the games against Fnatic, being able to grab a win, making it a 3-way tie in that group. Like, yeah, TSM, they don't stand a chance in my opinion, because Group C is just way too stacked. I feel like.
To be honest, you can say that about any group. If you were to swap TSM with anyone in the group, so if you swap that with TSM with Team Liquid still. Like you've got two obvious favorites in that group, which is G2 and Sunning. Same with group B, Damwon, JD. And you've got Rogue. So if you swap TSM with Talon, it's still all TSM with Rogue. You still got the two favorites.
I'm just saying in Group C you have three favorites.
Well, yeah, but what I mean is like Damwon and JD, they're two obvious favorites if TSM and Rogue got swapped. It's not a case of they've been put into a group of death. Like obviously it is because there's three good teams, but there's already two top teams which I would never see TSM beating, like Top or DRX. I don't see TSM beating them. I don't see TSM beating Damwon or JD. I don't see TSM beating G2 or Sunning. And that's the thing. I feel like NA, it is just a case of NA fans. They are just, we've got a chance this year because TL or whatever. It's just not a case anymore. I feel like, especially with the older players, like Doublelift, they need to get the new talent, the new thingy. Because I feel like Doublelift is now falling off. Like his matchup knowledge and stuff is still great, but his mechanical skill, I feel like if you were to get a younger player, and with the imports, the import rules in NA, it would be difficult. But a new young AD carry who has high mechanical skill, I feel like that would just go a lot better for many of the NA teams. But you can't do that with the rule because you can't get a Korean import or anything else. Because if you're wasting an import slot on someone who's young, this is for NA. They're unproven. A lot of fans would be upset about that. So that's why a lot of the fans go with someone who is proven, who is already set themselves as a good player because it's the more reliable choice. But that doesn't allow the growth which you need to see from NA. But yeah.
And I feel like you touched on a really important point. It's that a lot of the teams coming in here are looking good, and it's hard to say who's the better region, who's the better team, who's the favorite. Because while yes, you do have Damwon and Top Esports who are absolutely smashing and are for some people the favorites for this game, for this World Championship, a lot of the teams coming in from the big regions, so I'm talking about the LCK, LPL, and LEC, they're looking great. Fnatic G2, both 2-1, winning against the LCK teams, and looking strong. LCK, LPL both look amazing. It's hard to say who's the clear favorite, or well, you can say you have a favorite, but no, I don't think anyone can say 100% X is going to win, because a lot of the teams are looking good, a lot of the regions are looking good, and it's just exciting to see, exciting to watch, because usually by this point we'd have already the houses kind of locked in, maybe someone can upset and Fnatic week 2 buff and stuff like that, but right now we have two groups where we don't have a clear number one seed, because they tied in Group C 3 people and in Group A 2 people, and we have 3-0 teams in first place. I feel like a lot of the teams coming into this World Championship are looking good, and it does make it harder for the less experienced players, regions, teams to show up. So Match Esports, NA, PSG, and even Rogue, like we said, they're a bit unexperienced. I think they still have a chance, but yeah, coming into a big stage like that with the roster that they have is gonna be harder. But looking outside of group stage, I think we will have a really interesting series where everyone has a chance of winning. I'm just really excited about it. I don't know.
Yeah. I feel like League's got a lot more competitive, like over time. I've only been watching since season 6. Even then, that was very late into the season, so season 7 really. And the competitiveness has definitely increased. From season 7, wasn't really seeing like EU teams match Korean teams. There's obviously the upsets and stuff like that, but it was never really a contest. However, now you're seeing the Chinese teams and the Korean teams get toppled quite easily to Team IG2, like last year. And all it takes is a team to be informed and another just not feel it that day. And you can very easily have Rogue winning Group B or FlyQuest. Not FlyQuest, Fnatic, obviously winning. G2 easy stomping, like Sunning, like yeah, I do feel the league's got a lot more competitive in wildcards as well, a lot more competitive. Like UOL, even though they're 0-3, they're still putting up a good fight. It's not easy stomps all the time. Matchy Esports obviously taking the game from TL, and yeah, the PSG talent going 0-3 as well. But like, I feel all of league has improved, where the small regions improved quicker though. So it is much more competitive, much more tight, and yeah.
Yeah, I feel like one of the reasons the league got more competitive is how creative can players be, because we're talking about if 3 seasons ago dragons were just something you stack up for stats. Here it really matters which dragon you get, because if you get an infernal drake in an infernal map and you get infernal soul, it will affect the game. It will likely affect the game much more than if you get a mountain ray, because a mountain ray gives you a shield, which is great in some comps and in some teams. But on another hand, infernal gives you more pop-out damage, more damage. So you can play that around that more easily. It's about vision. It's about hell, even the alcoves in top and in bot lane can affect the way that teams play, because putting a ward in the alcove and getting your top laner to teleport there and come on the enemy bot lane, that's amazing. That gives so many opportunities. So teams need to be way more creative when they do that. I mean, I can give a shout out to Unicorns of Lab for that they came up with the Carter's bot lane in their game.
Also
In
the
the game
Swain.
against, yeah, and the
Yeah.
Swain, they're just so unique, and they're a bit of fresh air that's so fun to watch, because they're trying to invent something that the enemy won't expect, and winning from there. And I have huge respect for No Man's Gadget for playing these things, because they feel like such a stacked roster for a wildcard region that not many players expect. I mean, like, you're a Senna and you want to see a Caitlyn or a Jin or something that's easy to get through. But then you get and then you get the Cardus, which focuses the entire lane. That was brilliant in my opinion. So I feel like the meta itself and the map, the items, heck, Quicksilver Sash can change an entire game if
Yeah.
used correctly. So I feel like the game itself gave way more opportunities for teams to be more creative, and by that wildcard regions can reinvent things and play their own game and win by that.
Yeah.
The only team that couldn't win through that was NA, I feel.
hmm I feel like a big part of the reason why we feel like it league got a lot way more competitive and it's suddenly actually tied between all the regions is a lot of it, in my opinion, comes down to the vision changes that happened a while back in league. Like we used to see Korea be the by the book teams and like you put down the vision, you play slow, you don't go for risky fights, and they used to dominate with that, like SKT getting 3 world titles and like Korea being the winner for the worlds like every year, even if it's not SKT, it's gonna be someone else. And then suddenly Riot started to put away some of the wards and the way to gain vision. Like you no longer buy a sightstone, you need to do a quest. So not everyone can get vision. And they removed the green smite, which used to give you wards for the junglers, and suddenly as a jungler you can't ward that much anymore. So they taking down the amount of vision a team can have, and it makes the game way more chaotic. So suddenly teams that have good synergy between themselves, or good players that can outplay and solo carry, they suddenly become better. And the game as a whole became way more chaotic, way more fights, way more objectives. And as you said, the changes to the Drake, when suddenly now teams want to have an earlier comp, like a comp that is stronger earlier on, so they can get these early Drakes, get that advantage. The Herald suddenly, a huge influx of gold with just one Herald can swing the game from one side to the other. So the game got a lot more early game focused, and I think as you said, wildcard regions really benefit off of that. Also LPL and LEC, which like have a lot of scrappy teams that like to fight, whether it's G2 or like Medlands, that arguably didn't show up like the best out of Plains. But we have to remember it's a rookie team, like except Humanoid, everyone there were rookies. But still, that scrappy, we like to fight in your face type of game style. It's really being rewarded right now, and it's making the game, I feel like, more interesting to watch, as well as more competitive for all regions.
Can I just add to that about Mad Lions as well? They're not only rookies, but they're rookies to a stage. They before Worlds, they hadn't been on a stage since early spring, and that was the first time they were on stage. And I feel like that's played into a lot of why Mad Lions haven't done as well as possible. And if you look at the world stage as well, the way it's set up, the players are so far apart. It doesn't actually look like you're like if I was there and I was playing, you literally have to fully look over to see your teammate. It's not a case of there's that. It's a case of fully looking over, and I feel like that changes your mindset as well, because especially in game room, you're right next to each other. If you look at this as well, so that plays into your mindset of your team's not there. I don't know if you can understand what I mean here, but
yeah, I do.
It plays into your. It's like your subconscious. You don't realize it, but that's what happens. So I feel like Mad Lions have been done a bit dirty by Riot, to be honest, by the seat placements, you know.
Yeah, but I think it just means that they still have a lot to show next year. Like, hopefully, we can, as planet Earth, get back to normal with all the corona stuff going on. Like, maybe hopefully next summer can actually have games in the studio, and then Medlands can get the experience that they lacked this year. And if they show up big time, they can maybe go to Worlds and maybe show up next year. So I definitely understand what you're talking about, but I like to look at it as they got some experience now, and now they know what they should expect. I think they should be happy with the run they had this year, and it should motivate them for next year to be better, to go harder, to win more. So yeah, I agree with you about this point. But I like to look at it with the optimist eyes, glasses. So yeah. So I think we touched about all the groups, right? Yeah, I mean, Group
We
D.
didn't talk about Group C.
Yeah, we didn't talk about groups.
Group C, rather. I mean, I'm a Fnatic fanboy, so I'm rooting here for Fnatic. I think they stumbled a little bit versus LGD, and I think they learned their lessons. And coming into week 2 with the Fnatic week 2 buff, I think they can definitely 3-0 and be the top of the group. So that's my feeling. I like the game against TSM was a reminder for everyone to ban Evelyn against Fnatic. And then versus LGD, I feel like they had a good plan, and along the way things didn't go their way. I think part of it was like hard committing to Weipo carrying on the set, and the other sides of the map didn't do as well. I think Nemesis mostly had a hard game for that one. And then they said, okay, well, we tried that didn't work. Let's go back to the old ways. And versus Genji, they went hard in the bot lane, like really punishing the lack of flash in the bot lane for the support for the Rakan. And then just like, I think Hilisang played amazingly that game. He only died 3 times, and the third time was when they won the game. He just randomly dived the fountain, which is like a Healy-sang thing to do. But he absolutely played amazing that game, and I want to see more of that from him. And yeah, I think like this is the level of Fnatic we're gonna see now, even maybe even better. And yeah, I think they're gonna 3-0 it. I like to believe Genji would be the second, although I did put LGD in my pick'em second, so I don't know. It's a hard call for me, but yeah, Fnatic, I think, came in gun blazing, and they're looking good. But I'm a Fnatic fanboy, so let's give it to someone else who might have a different opinion and better look at it from the outside.
I feel like this is going to be Genji first, Fnatic second, but Fnatic's going to be in a tiebreaker with LGD. That's what I'm feeling, because Genji, like, it's such a good team. The top 3 teams in Group C are just so good. Like,
Yeah.
Fnatic, obviously great team, but I don't think they're gonna get first. It's just a root feeling inside me says they're not gonna get first. So it's either LGD or Genji, and I don't know why, but I'm just sticking with Genji here, Korean team. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, that's what I'm feeling.
Yeah, I feel like in Group C, it's a lot about the battle of the bot lane. We're talking about Reckless versus Kramer versus Ruler.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're talking about 3 very, very players, very strong players, or long time in the scene. They had a lot of Worlds appearances. So we're talking a lot about how they play through this. Now, one thing that's important to mention is that Ruler has an ear infection,
Yeah.
which kind of affects his way of playing. I don't know if you can blame him for that or blame the way he plays, but it might be a factor. We can't know. But I feel like I too am a Fnatic fangirl, and you can't ignore the Fnatic week 2 buff. They have a record since 2015. They've been in 4 Worlds Championships, and they have a record of 14-1 in week 2. 14-1.
That's huge.
That's huge. That's statistically impossible, and just they deny any odds, and even in 2017 they went 0-4, and you went like, okay, that's it for Fnatic. But no, they're here, and they're here to fight. That's the mentality of the group is so strong. I really like this team in that matter, so I'm not that worried about Fnatic. I don't know if they're going to take first or second. I hope first, because I am a big fan of the European League, but that's just me. But about Genji versus LGD, I feel like LGD. I'm sorry. I feel like it's a lot about the jungler diff, because Khalid is very good. Yeah, you can't ignore that he plays his carry. You don't even need to introduce him. He's been in the scene for as long as the other players that are well known. And on the other hand, you have Peanut, which counts as one of the best junglers in the LPL. He's huge. His needle is just tremendous, and he like Peanut is all over the map. So I feel like the between LGD and Genji, it's a lot about who is going to play better, Khalid or Peanut.
Mm-hmm. And touching on the point you said that it's a lot about the bot lane matchups. I think one of the big reasons I feel comfortable for Fnatic is the game against Genji, how they smashed them in the bot lane. Like, tower diving level 2, I think it was, and like just hard stomping the bot lane of Genji, and it looks good for them. It is the look that you want to see. Like Reckless is the all-time Fnatic member, like the big name for them, been playing with them since, I don't know, like forever,
But then,
feels like.
yeah,
So him coming into the game smashing, and Hylissang that have been criticized a lot by fans that he's a coin flip player, coming in and showing up and playing out of his mind, I think it's a huge confidence boost for the Fnatic group and fans. And as you said, the ruler ear infection definitely hurts Genji chances, in my opinion. So yeah, I agree with you. Fnatic 2 week 2 buff, in my opinion, is like they just feel too good for me to not qualify as first seed. But well, if we're touching it already, like, what do you think your predictions is like for week 2 is gonna be like? Who's gonna be on top of every group? Dom, you start with the group A.
Right. G2 Sunning. Group B down one JD, but Rogue could slip in there in second. Group C Genji Fnatic, and then Group D Unicorns of Love, top of the bus.
Okay.
Can I
Ode?
just touch on Hillian? Anyone who says Hillian needs to actually just shut up. Like anyone who seriously thinks Hilly is a bad player needs to actually just alt F4 from watching League, go play a game of League of Legends themselves, and play as support, and realize how bad you are as support, and then realize how good Hilly is. Because like all of you are delusional saying that Hilly is. Yes, he has a couple of bad games where it is exposed, but a lot of the games where it is close, he has kept tempo for his team, and he is just an amazing player.
Yeah, and I mean, to be fair, Fnatic wouldn't keep Hylissang on their main roster if they thought he'd play bad. Like, Fnatic obviously sees something in Hylissang and think he's worth it, even if like people say he coin flips sometimes. So yeah, I don't think saying like any player is bad because obviously he's playing. So you know, he might bring something to the team that we don't know, whether it's like a mentality of don't worry guys, we got this, and keep the team focused and mentality, good mentality, or whether it's like actually playing well and doing the shot calls for the team. So yeah, I think Hylissang is a really underappreciated player, and obviously Fnatic sees something in him, so they keep him in the group. Ode, what are your thoughts for the
yeah. I mean,
predictions?
I just gotta say about Hilly that Dom, you're a Unicorns of Love fanboy. Of course, you're gonna love Hylissang.
Yeah, fair
Yeah.
enough.
It's actually not because of that, though. It's actually not. It's actually a case of Hilly is a good player, and people need to stop. Like this thing you see on Fnatic Reddit and stuff. Why don't you trust a player that's been at the organization for how long now? Has been a staple of the team, and yeah, what he does seems like in. But if you look at it, like actually fully zoom in on what he's doing, like he's keeping tempo. He stops bases, and even if like he might die from it like 50% of the time, it's still a case of he delayed that recall. So if he wasn't to die, if something else happened, whatever, he's then got the Drake pressure or something else that's allowed his team to just take a free Drake, take a free Baron, or anything like that. Like yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he's called the professor in Korea fan base for a reason. You know, he's a very smart player. But I'm going to talk about my standings. So my predictions are Sonic first, G2 Esports second in Group A. In Group B, Downone Gaming first and Rogue second. Group C, Genji first and Fnatic second. And Group D, Top Esports first, DRX second. But I really hope I'm going to be wrong because you know this is Rolls, and Rolls is about these apps in best of ones and things being interesting. So while this is what I predict, I really hope, at the end of the day, it's not what's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, Dom has some technical issues, so Odin, you will be switched, and he's fixing it. So for my picks, well, in the pick'em I did put Sunning over G2 Esports, but looking at how G2 played their game so far, I am inclined to put them at first. I think they did show some good games and plays, and I think they learned their lesson from the last two Team Liquid, and I don't think they're gonna repeat it. So I think they're gonna take first in the group and then Sunning probably second. I don't see Team Liquid or Machi actually upsetting them there. Damwon and JD, I think it's a no-brainer, although I am hoping Rogue will somehow get the better of JD. Fnatic and I put Fnatic first. I think I put LGD in my pick'em second, but seeing how the teams play, I feel like it's gonna be Genji second. And I think Top Esports and DRX first and second is a no-brainer. Although, like you, Ode, I hope I'm wrong about that. And I hope FlyQuest or Unicorns of Love manage to get an upset and somehow get the second seed from the house.
Yeah, I feel like every group wants to be first, not for the sake of being first, but for the sake of avoiding top esports and that one in the
Yeah.
quarterfinals.
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
like, even if you get, second place, yeah, you're out of group, but then you can stand against these giants that seem unstoppable. You're talking about Knight on the Nocturne pick, which was, very surprising and very cool in my opinion. We're talking about Karsha, who's just playing, he's so ahead in so many games. I mean, I really hope Fnatic will take first as a fangirl, but we'll see. Fnatic like to keep their fans on the ropes, so
yeah.
maybe
Leave us
they're
hanging.
going.
Like, what's gonna happen?
Yeah, I mean, when you register to a Fnatic game, you need something to check your heart pulse to make sure you don't need a hospital.
Yeah. What were you saying, Dom?
I was just going to ask Oda, do you mean when you're doing your predictions, is it LGD second, right? Or was it Genji?
No, I'm
I think you
gonna
said
put Genji second, I think.
Yeah, I put Genji second.
Okay, I
Well,
thought you.
Genji first and Fnatic second.
I thought you were on about LGD winning with Peanut.
Oh, no, I
mean,
think
I
Peanut
love
is
Peanut
trolling.
and I love LGD, but
Okay.
they're like the Fnatic weak to buff is too strong, and Genji are playing well
Too well.
better. They're just playing
Yeah.
better. I can't put it any other way.
Okay.
I mean, if you mentioned Peanut, I'm just gonna say it. I don't feel like Peanut is showing up as much as people expect him to. I think he's a great player, but I think he's underperforming. Like a lot of the hype that was around him, I feel is just left. Like it just doesn't give you a reason to keep the hype up, because like I don't remember what game versus who it was, but he played Kindred and his top laner was Renekton, and his top laner was smurfing that game and 1v2ing, and then Peanut like, hey, let me help you, and Peanut was the one to die, and then Renekton was the one to 1v2 practically. So and by the way, he was playing Kindred with ult up when he died. So like I feel like he's a great player, and if LGD somehow surprise us and start winning, I think a lot of it will be around him playing well. I just don't feel like from what we saw up until now, I don't feel like he's gonna do it. And like Happy said, like last week when he was here, he said LGD have a way of disappointing me. Every time I think they're gonna play well, they disappoint me. And while I don't feel exactly the same as they're disappointing me, I do feel like they're not gonna be able to clutch it like Fnatic and Genji will be able to.
The thing about LGD for me is less about disappointing and more about not being an LPL team, because the LPL, if anyone has watched LPL games during the year, they're an explosive region. They're like fighting all the time, many kills, many objectives all over the map, very quick paced games, and LGD aren't there. They're in a completely different mentality, both in the play-ins and the group stage. They play very slowly. They play with a plan. They play like, yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and do that. And I feel like it won't stand in the test of time against teams like Genji and Fnatic, because Fnatic, they're about, Selfmade is a very strong jungler. That's about he's very strong if he gets an early lead, and Fnatic is a lot about giving Selfmade that early lead. And Genji is a lot about, Rascal coming to the bot lane and helping. And so the long game plan that LGD sometimes has with their draft, like with the Kindred and the Renekton, just doesn't work against this kind of teams. It worked against TSM because they're TSM, but against the other two, it's just not going to cut it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I agree with you on that, and I think this will be it for the episode today. Do you have any final thoughts you want to share with us, Ode or UL boy?
If UOL win, this is if UOL win Worlds, right? I get 20 grand. Just want to let you know. Who wants a jersey? Who wants a jersey? If UOL win, right? Who wants a UOL jersey?
I'm down for a UL jersey.
Okay, I'll send you a UOL jersey.
I mean, if UL win, won't you get a tattoo of UL on your hand or something?
Yeah, I'll get a tattoo of UOL right over my heart as well.
If Unicorns of Love win, I'm going to wear pink for the rest of the week. I'm not even kidding.
I will send you. I'll send you a jersey as well.
Yes, I really love the pink. They have a really nice shade of pink.
Yeah.
But
You've got such a good jersey as well this year, honestly.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Let's go. Let's take over and let's enjoy Worlds and hope it's an explosive week and we see many upsets and let's get it.
Yeah. So the games, the games we have ahead of us are every day will be a full group game. So we're gonna have at the end of it each day the group mapped out for us, and it finishes on October 11th. So the next episode of this podcast will be somewhere between the 12th and the 14th of October. So stay tuned for that if you want to hear some more from me. Other than UL boy, thank you very much for joining me. I had a blast. For those of you listening to this not live, just know that we are recording this live on my Twitch, twitch.tv/Virax5. That's VIRAX5. So feel free to join if you want to. And regardless of that, I have a stream and YouTube, so you can check it out there. The podcast will be put up in everywhere, so like Spotify, YouTube, and I don't know whatever else. UL boy and Ode, if you have something you want to plug in, feel free to do it now. Where can we find you?
I'm on. Let me check. Where's my phone? There you go. So I am on Twitter, twitter.com/semyaz62, SEMYAZ62. So I'm there if you want to chat. I'm really like discussing role stuff.
And Dom, where can I find you? Oh, I see you right in the chat.
Twitter.com/UOLboy, twitch.tv/UOLboy, Instagram, UOLboy, what else? That's it. Yeah. There we go.
And just to make sure, UL boy is boy BOI, so don't be mistaken by that. And yeah, that's gonna be it for this episode. Thank you so much for joining. Maybe we'll see you again here if you guys want to. We'll see. Anyway, stay tuned on my Twitter. It's Twitter. Wait, what? I'm stupid. It's Virax5 in Twitter. Or maybe underscore. I don't know. Just like
Twitter.com. Whoo.
Yeah, twitter.com. Thank you. That's it. Yeah. I'm so bad at this self-plugging. But anyways, yeah, I'm gonna be tweeting about my when the podcast will be if you wanna see it live. So follow me there to be notified. And yeah, if anyone interested, in an hour or so, like every Wednesday on 7 p.m. Central European time, I'm streaming games, whatever I feel like. So if anyone watching this wants to watch me play, I don't know, League of Legends, Valorant, Legend of Zelda, whatever, yeah, feel free. It's in about an hour from now. But yeah, self promotion aside, thank you very much for joining me, Ode and Dom. It's been a blast, and I'll see you in a week or so. Thanks for watching,
Bye.
and bye bye.
Bye bye.